Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm so happy to see so many of you that have joined us today. Lots of names of those that I do know and some names of others that I don't, which is fantastic. My name is Sandra Mall. I'm the program advisor here at Coaching Out of the Box, and I will be your host for today's webinar. The reason for the webinar today is for you to walk away with some confidence in what you bring to the table as a coach, how to properly value your services, as well as to get to know a little bit more about us here at Coaching Out of the Box. I just want to let you all know the chat box is open. We love your questions, comments, feedback, so please be sure to use the chat box all throughout the webinar. We're not going to do really a formal Q&A. We're going to answer the questions as they come up, so please be sure to utilize that feature. And for those of you in attendance, you will be receiving a certificate a little bit later on this week for 1 CCE, a Coach Continuing Education credit with the ICF, which is an exciting thing for us. So please be sure to stick with us for the hour, and we'll be sure you get that certificate. The webinar is recorded, and there will be a follow-up email sent out afterwards for those that were not able to join us today. And so let's get started. Like I said, my name is Sandra, program advisor here at Coaching Out of the Box. I chat with people every day in regards to coaching and our programs, and I'm more than happy to connect with any one of you. If you do have any questions, you'll see my calendar link on the screen, and also the follow-up email after this webinar will be sent out from my email address. And I would like to introduce to you all the wonderful, the amazing, the talented, one of our great coach facilitators here at Coaching Out of the Box. We have Rosa Dinga. Thank you for joining us today.
Betty, do you want me to say something? I
You
should say something, huh? Everybody's like, what is she going to say? What is she going to say? Like Sandra said, I am Rosa Dinga. I am a coach facilitator with Coaching Out of the Box. I also have my own practice in coaching, and I also have a company called Life Unmuted, which helps women entrepreneurs use their voice to play bigger and be really successful in their own companies. I am excited to be here. So yeah, this is going to be fun, I think. Hopefully you do too, because hopefully it'll be fun. No interpretive dance. Don't worry, Sandra. That's not for the 1 credit. That's a different webinar.
Different webinar altogether. So what we're going to get through today is we're going to chat about, what is your value, how others see you, pricing your services, growing your value, and again, answering any questions that you have. I certainly am not the expert on this subject. I'm going to be referring to Rosa to bring the great value of this webinar to you. And I'll go ahead and moderate the chat and jump in when necessary. So Rosa, would you like me to pass it over?
Yeah, woo, okay. Thanks, Sandra. Thanks for that intro. Let's live up to that, which is great because it's all about value. I'll also encourage you to throw your questions and your thoughts into the chat. Just a thing with the chat. Make sure, when you're chatting, you get the option of saying all panelists and attendees. There is an absolute magic that happens when comments and questions and thoughts are exchanged within the chat of the people who are in attendance. So make sure that you're sharing with all panelists and attendees, because I think that, it's just valuable when you share. So let's dive in, because I want to create as much space for your questions and comments as absolutely possible. So owning your value as a coach. The information I want to share, I put it together, some of you may have read it. It was a piece that I put together for the International Coach Federation's Coaching World. It's all started on a fateful day earlier this year when I received an email from a large coaching organization. They were facilitating a 4-day leadership development program for a national financial services company. And what they wanted to do in that is bring coach approach and coaching skills to their leaders. I am a huge proponent of that. Not only is that aligned with coaching out of the box, it aligns with me. I've seen the power of using coaching skills and the practice, having leaders use that in an organization impacts the culture of that organization. So I'm like, all right, I'll keep reading. So I did. What they wanted to do, their request was simple. They wanted me to come back or come and join them for half a day and support and watch their leaders as they developed and used these coaching skills. So a little about me. One of my core values is contribution. Like many of you, that's what drew me to coaching. I love that concept of serving, of giving back, of adding value. So I'm like, okay, this is intriguing. The next part of the email said, and we'd like you to do it at no cost. While we appreciate your experience and what you would bring, we want you to do it for nothing. So I thought, huh? And I read it again. Here's another piece about me. I am a huge proponent of the value of pro bono coaching. I think it is so valuable in, to support emerging coaches, to support leaders in not-for-profit, to support leaders going through something like COVID in whatever industry, business, healthcare, whatever that is, for social entrepreneurs or those who are doing social good. Pro bono coaching, not getting, that same monetary exchange that we get as coaches, that's huge. For me, this request was not about contribution. It was not about pro bono. It was not about serving someone in that pro bono space. For me, it was about devaluing my skills, my experience, my time, and about maintaining a profit margin. So I politely declined. Owning my value as a coach, defining it, articulating it, isn't necessarily a natural place for me. The entrepreneurs that I work with, whether in the coaching space or outside of it, I also know that it's not a comfortable place or a natural place for some of them. Some of you, it might not be a natural place when you're talking about yeah, I think what I do is really valuable, but how do I define that? How do I monetize that? So the other space or the other side of that coin is I also know that owning it, owning your value, being able to define it, being able to articulate it, stand in it, is foundational to a successful business when especially one that you and your services, you and your expertise, you and your passion are what you're selling. So my hope is in this. I laugh because Sandra says, well, she's not the expert. Neither am I. I am not an expert in this. I don't know if there is an expert in this. What I hope in this time together is I'm going to share my experiences. Yes, we're all living together. I'm going to share my experiences, my knowledge, and my lessons. We're going to talk about defining your value, getting the word out, again, pricing it, pricing your services, how to maintain your value. My hope is that you walk away with something you didn't have before, and that leads you to be, for this owning your value and defining your value, to be a bit more natural for you. So we will dive in. So I will ask you, Sandra, to go to the next slide. I am going to take breaks or pauses in between some of the, especially the big ones, to look at the chat, read some of the questions. Sandra's also going to do that or kind of look at the questions that you have in the chat. So as they come up for you, throw them in. We will try to get to as many as possible today. So I'm going to dive in by that first place of, if you don't believe in your value as a coach, who's going to? So this is that first place, again, with those powerful experiences that many of you create and have gone through. It all starts with you first. So that first step in owning your value is articulating it. It's starting to articulate it. So I invite people to start with an inventory. Write it down. Write down your training and your work experience and your successes and your achievements. What lights you up professionally, personally, if it's applicable, what you've written, what you've contributed to, if you've contributed to a journal or a paper, or classes you've taught, webinars you've given, passion projects that you have. For many of you who either have a CV or a resume, you already have some of this stuff. Others, you're like, I have a website that has a bunch of stuff on it. You already have some of this inventory. I'm suggesting you take some dedicated time, write it down, put it all together, and look at it. And it does two things. One, it celebrates your journey. It reminds you of all the cool things that you can do, the certifications you do. Yeah, I can do this. I can play the guitar. If you can play the guitar and you think that's relevant, put it in. And I'm actually not only joking about that, it makes you relatable. So anything that, again, lights you up, that is a passion for you, throw it into an inventory. It reminds you of the journey that you've taken to be here. It also, in very, business sense, it differentiates you. I laugh because many of you, I see their names as participants, have heard me say this. Someone may have the same number of years of experience as you. Someone, again, may have the same certification as you. It's not about the one specific thing. The combination of what you bring to the table as you, your experiences, your journey, what makes you unique is your secret sauce. Use it. Identify it and use it, because it's the blend of what you bring as a coach that differentiates you. Celebrate that and articulate it. So start with that inventory of who you are, what you've done, what you've accomplished. Then I'm going to take you to the next slide, and then I'm taking a little bit of a pause. So please throw your questions in the chat. Here's a secret. Keeping your value as a secret, or keeping it as a secret, is doing you no favors. If you are the only person who knows the value you bring, you are not serving yourself, you're not serving your own business, you're not serving the clients that you could be serving. If your clients, the people that you love serving, don't know that you can help them, how are they going to get help? You're not helping them. It doesn't serve that passion that you have. So here's the thing, not everybody is comfortable tooting their own horn. That's cool. And I invite you to become a bit more comfortable there. And don't do it all yourself. Not keeping yourself a secret means asking others to talk for you. So ask former clients or current clients or peers or colleagues to share their experiences. They're letting the world know how you have impacted them with your coaching. Again, it's a powerful way to get the word out. LinkedIn endorsement or recommendation, a written testimonial that you can use on your website or in promotional materials, or those wonderful social media posts that we all love. They go a long way. So here's a bit of a tip, or here's some advice. Eek, I'm a coach giving advice. The ACF's going to come at me. Not all testimonials are alike. Someone giving me a testimonial that says Rosa is awesome is like the worst testimonial ever. Because while it may be wonderful for me and my heart might be, yay, I'm awesome, and my ego might be like, yay, Rosa's awesome, it doesn't say anything about the value that I provide. It doesn't say anything about the impact. It doesn't say anything about my services or who I am as a coach. But some people just don't know how to write a recommendation. They don't know how to write a testimonial. So I invite you to, when you're asking, share some questions with people. Say, hey, here are some questions as guiding questions. You might not need them. They might help. Questions like, why'd you search out a coach? What problem were you facing when you came to work with me? What impact did our coaching, our time together have? on you personally, on you professionally? What impact did it have on those around you? Again, having someone share the impact of your coaching on their lives, powerful, right? Why wouldn't you have them share that with you? Again, questions like, if you had to describe my coaching style in 4 words, how would you do that? Or even, if you had to talk to someone you really cared about who was thinking about working with me, what would you say? So give them some of those guiding questions. That's what we love as coaches. We have questions. Oh, yes. We love questions. So give those questions as testimonials. Make it as easy as possible for someone to say, you know, heck. Ooh, sorry, Sandra, I said heck. Bottom line is, the people that you've helped, the people that you've supported, the people that you've created space for to help them move forward, they are willing to say, yes, let me tell you about my experience with Rosa or whoever. So ask them. What they also do is they add a level of credibility, because I can say, here's all my impact. Did I mention here's my inventory? And if someone else says, yeah, and this is how she used that inventory, here's how she used that secret sauce to impact my life, my professional life, my leadership, my health, whatever niche you're in, having someone else say it is a pretty powerful place for others to then be like, I want to work with them because, you know, I hear good things. You know, be that, allow your clients to be your PR machine. Gather the information from them. So I am going to pause there because I know that the next slide is going to be fun. And whoo, shabasha. Sorry, I just saw how many. I don't think that's really technical. Okay, I am going to, and if I miss any questions, Sandra, please do. Okay, there's no questions. You guys are so awesome. I love this. This is so good for my ego. People you have worked with can be a great source to help say who you are okay to use. Why not? Daniel, why not? You know, if you're, especially, you know, whether it's, I look at the people in the list, I've asked some of you to be like, in other areas, whether you've seen me facilitate, you've seen me lead a class, you've seen me coach, you've seen me mentor. Why wouldn't you ask people who've seen you do different things? If they share a side of you with people who might want to work with you, why wouldn't you ask them? So is there a distinction between knowing your value versus selling?
I just wanted to say that question is phenomenal. It's been on my mind through the whole thing. So thank you.
Janika, no, you're not allowed to ask questions. Yes, I think there's a distinction, and I think that they're related. How can you sell your whatever you're selling, your services, if you don't know the value of them? And we'll talk a little bit about what you are selling. Selling has this weird connotation to it. For me, what if it wasn't about selling, it was about serving? What was it about telling people that, hey, you have a problem, I can help you? That's what entrepreneurship is about. It's like, you have a problem, I got a solution, let's get together, make the world better. So while there is a distinction, I don't think you can sell. I don't think you can promote your services. I don't think you can find your clients if you don't know your value, if you don't understand what value you're giving them. So hopefully, Janika, when we come back, kind of as we go through, if we come back to that, if you're still like, nah, Rosa, I still don't see, come back. I would love to kind of go back to that question and say, does that make sense? Is there anything that I've done? How about, Daniel, I want to go to your question because I love it. Is there anything that I've done with you that has been helpful? Broad. Someone might be like, you gave me a coffee once, or. Make it specific to what you need it for. You're asking people to share their opinion of you, and look at it as how can their words help the next person who I can help find me? So yes, there's a kind of elements of, is there something I can find? It's like, what in my coaching helped you the most? ask questions like that. Get it really specific. And the more specific you can make it, the more specific information you'll get. And then you can use that, again, for the next person to find you. I love that icing on the cake. Yes. We are not seeing a lot of these questions as all attendees. Again, it's that, I think it's all panelists and attendees has to be clicked. So if you've asked a question and it just says all panelists, just me and Sandra are going to see it. All attendees and panelists, if you click that, even if you want to repost it, cool. Yes. How about offering? I don't know if I understand the question. What are my offerings? Is that, it's like, what do I offer in terms of services? I think we'll talk about, I'll touch on that when we talk about pricing. But again, it's, I'm going to touch on that when we talk about pricing, which is the next slide, about the offerings. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. I love this.
Yeah, we had a comment come up that the offering was, the versus, like, your value versus selling. And how about, knowing your value versus offering? I think it was just kind of used as a different reframe of that word. So that was
And I also invite you to look at the word selling and what comes up for you when you hear selling. Is selling to, you've defined it. So if selling brings up this, no, selling is used car salesman, it's pushy, it's, I would invite you to look at your definition of selling. Because offering is, I'm going to give you something. The other side of that is I need to receive something, because that's just how I can continue to give. If I continue to receive, I continue to give. And that abundance place. Oh my gosh.
Can I share Diana's comment?
Please. I'm like, oh my God.
I'm thinking that another source for words to describe your secret sauce could be from the feedback about what we did do well. We get from our class facilitators or coaches and our classmates and our classroom practice coaching. So this is essentially, Diana, you saying that let's use each other. If you're taking coach training, if you're in the fast track right now, you have so much value in that cohort, because you're getting to know each other so well through this program. Utilize each other. That's a great place to get the feedback and to have somebody else toot your horn, right? So you don't have to. But I love that one. I thought it was great.
And that also brings up the fact of, again, whether you've gone through a fast track program with Coaching Out of the Box or just, I don't want to say or a class, the people that you meet, the community, your coaching community, wherever you've learned it, ask them, talk to them. And that's not only just in that, it's as we talk about even pricing. So I'll get you to switch since it's a good segue, but it's that place of, there are certain things that we have apparently made taboo, like talking about how much we charge. So that everybody's like, how much do I price this at? I don't know. Lean on the community that you have. Ask the questions. So I'm going to talk a lot about, because this comes up a lot, whether it's coaching practice webinar, whether it's, hey, whether it's in classes that we, some of us, as I look at the list, some of us have facilitated it. But Rosa, what do I charge? So I want to dig into that, because part of this value piece is an exchange of value. So I want to honor that when I talk about pricing your coaching services, for some people, me included, it brings up emotions and narratives that we have around worth, confidence. I can't charge, I'm just practicing. Our own comfort level with that exchange, our relationship with money, our upper registry, hey, I can't make more than this because whatever that happens, it's a mindset. I want to honor that. This isn't about, hey, stop that. This is about sit in that for a bit. And again, if you don't value your services, who will? It also might mean that you're like, yeah, cool, Rosa, that's not what comes up for me when I talk about dollars. It's, I don't even know where to start. So for me, I talk about pricing services as a combination of market value, valuing, like actually putting a number, valuing what you provide, and your own comfort level. So I'll start with each of them, or I'll go through each of them. I'll start with market value. I look at market value as how much the market is willing to pay. This will differ. This will differ in location, even though sometimes, a lot of times we're now virtual. Your niche, your area, your expertise or your experience, that will vary. And the growth of the coaching industry has increased the information available about pricing of coaching. So I encourage you to do internet searches. I encourage you to ask other coaches. Again, let's stop making this taboo. And review global research. There's a lot of research. One is go to the ICF. When I wrote the piece for Coaching World, the 2019 coaching survey hadn't come out yet. And it did. I'm so excited that it came out before this webinar. You will be receiving an executive summary of the ICF Global Coaching Survey. They do it every 4 years. They did it in 2015. They did it in 2019. They've just released it. I went in and I looked. And so the estimated global revenue from coaching is 2.85 billion US dollars. So you're looking at it's a lucrative industry to be in. And it is, and it's growing. This is up 21% from the last time they did this in 2015. So that's globally how much coaching takes in. The number of coaches has also grown. They see 71,000 coach practitioners globally, which is a 33% increase. It's growing. It's growing fast and furiously. So if you look at the $2.8 billion industry, they also break it down to say, okay, cool. So what's the average annual revenue income of a coach? And the average is $47,000 US. North America is higher, so I want to also just acknowledge that. They see it as an annual income of 62,500 is, I have to look at my note, is in North America. That's the average annual income that someone who has responded saying, this is how much I make from coaching every year. So taking some of that, taking the research, taking the conversations, looking at ICF studies like that, will start to paint a picture for you of range of pricing options, comparisons to coaches with your expertise, the clients you're serving. For me, I know from my experience in what has mostly been the public sector, is there's been a range of, anything from 100, when we talk about average, there was an average range of $180 to an hour to $550, $600 an hour. Executive coaches in Silicon Valley may make more an hour. So again, that's just the market research. It's about finding out. That's the first place to start. Finding out, what does your market, what do other coaches make, or what do they charge? The second piece of that is valuing your services. So selling your services by the hour, selling your coaching services by the hour is not only tough to sustain, it's a lot of hustle, it also could be devaluing what you do. So instead of charging by the hour, many coaches sell their services through packages or in packages. And those packages are based on outcomes. Not like, oh, here's 4 hours and 4 hours of lovely coaching. So here's what you're going to get from it. Think about it. Any service that you've gone to, be it hairdresser, mechanic, are you buying by the hour? Sure, their services may be broken down by the hour. You might get a bill and be like, hours. Are you buying the hours? Or are you buying the outcome? The hairdresser, you're buying, I'm getting a haircut, color, covering my grays, maybe a bit more confidence. That's what I'm getting as an outcome. The car mechanic, I'm getting new brakes. I'm getting an oil change. I'm reducing my anxiety that my car is going to break down on the highway or that I can stop when I need to. So looking at it through the lens of coaching, would you rather buy an hour of coaching? Or would you rather buy a conversation or an engagement that helps you get clarity, increases your confidence as a leader, helps you go through a difficult conversation, helps you reach your health goals? So when looking at, again, that place of how do you actually, like, Rosa, what are the mechanics of doing this? Like, what do I say that like, how do I tell people what do I do? And how do I actually say, here's my offerings? Is to look at what are the outcomes that you're helping your clients get? How much time does that take? How have you seen that? Again, look back at your clients saying, oh, usually I can do this in an hour and a half, this in 3 months, whatever that looks like for you, take some time to do that. So that's the valuing of your services. In terms of outcomes, what are the outcomes you give your clients? That third place that I want to talk about is personal comfort. You need to be comfortable with the value that you place, the dollar value that you place on your services. It may be helpful to enlist help here from a thinking partner. Again, reach out to your community and say, okay, so I've done my inventory, like Rosa told me. I've looked at my previous clients. I've looked at the outcome that I'm helping them get. I'm looking at the valuation and what other, leadership coaches or health coaches or life coaches or whatever my niche is. And here's the range. And now I'm having a reaction. Can I talk that through? Because you need to be comfortable saying, here's what I can provide and here's the exchange for it. So, yes. So I just see, like, as I see some of the, and Carolyn, you use a word that I love, and it's not about, again, if that whole exchange of money, I invite you to work through that because you're going to need to. It'll help make you successful. It's that investment. People are investing in what you're doing. They're investing in that value. They're investing in themselves. So help articulate that for them so it makes it easy. So I'm going to pause here because that was a lot of talking. And just browse. I don't know, Sandra, are there questions that struck you? And I want to see if we can find others, but there are questions that struck you?
A great question that's just come up is, how do you balance this with expectation of what client owns in relation to outcome? Do not promise something.
Great questions.
Because that's a great question, because you're investing in your outcome, but sometimes as coaching, you don't necessarily know what the outcome is going to be.
Mm-hmm. And I love this question because it's this, here are the outcomes that I typically, for example, I'll use me as an example. Here's, a 6-month leadership coaching engagement with me, and here are the outcomes you can expect. And as we set the stage, whether it's in the pre-call to be like, who is this Rosa? And can I listen to her voice coaching me? Like that's a real thing, folks. Or in that first place of many of you have gone through the training and you hear about the coaching agreement and what are these, that's what we mean. It's having a conversation about, cool, here are the outcomes that this is designed around. 1, what are specifically your goals? And 2, establishing that agreement that those outcomes, especially, or you want to talk about it as a client goals, those goals are yours. I will help you get there. I will check in on what you need to get there. I will help you define that at the front end. That's why I say spend some time at the front end of your engagement. Defining that, saying, what do you need from me? And being really clear. You own, as the client, you own the outcomes. Like I can say, here are the outcomes. They are predicated on you putting the effort in. You need to show up. And establishing that at the front end. So this is less about, okay, these outcomes are guaranteed. It's here are the outcomes that you could expect from this engagement. And then you dive into the client's goals. And again, you reiterate, they're your goals. I can't want them more than you. That's not what coaching is about. And I can help you, I can support you, I can create a space, and I can't own them. So that's part of the establishing agreement piece. at the front end of any engagement of here's what I do, here's your responsibility.
So then you essentially would create kind of packages for each client individually. There's not going to be a set, framework in a sense of what your package is, because it would depend on that conversation with them.
Yes and no. So yes, in the sense of it's their goals. So if they have a specific goal, I'll just, again, an example, whether it's leadership or career transition. As someone says, okay, here are the 3 packages. Career transition, it's ideal for this person who's in a career transition, looking for interview prep, leadership. Here's what the person, so you're like saying, here's what you would be attracted to. Here's what you would get. Here's what, this is about. Here are kind of the outcomes, but yes, within it, is it customized? Sure. And people come in saying, oh, okay, do I want the career? Well, that's not me. Very similar. Some of us will be like, is it leadership coaching? Is it executive? Is it mentor coaching? Very different. So someone who's looking for leadership support or health support isn't going to be like, hey, Rosa, I want you to be my mentor coach. And within that mentor coach package, it's here's what you get. What are your goals? And having that conversation. So yes, it's tailored and you're not customizing packages.
I hear you. Thank you. That was a light bulb moment for me right there. Another question that's come up is, should part of the fee be paid after the attainment of the outcome?
So I'm going to smile because this is what I'm going to say is controversial. It's controversial. May bring up some stuff for you. In adult education, it is my experience that you get paid in full and upfront. Why? Part of that is to hold them accountable to the investment that they've made in themselves. To say, here, I trust you, and I trust myself to help you get there. Then that's all taken out of the conversation. It's not like, oh, okay, but then I have to, some organizations work that way, cool. And practice across the industry of adult education is you pay up front, you pay in full, and if there's arrangements, there's arrangements. Not about the outcomes, because if we have a conversation about here's what you can expect, here's what you can expect from me as a coach, here's what you can expect to get, here's what I expect from you, and those are all cleared, and they're like, yeah, okay, I'm Rosa, I'm on, check, let's do this. That's the agreement. So it's like, okay, I am going to trust, it's that whole exchange of trust me enough to help you get there and trust yourself enough to invest now. Don't give yourself an out. Controversial.
I think that's controversial, but if you're looking at the chat, I think you have a lot of support with that one. So.
I love that. Just like with the orthodontist. Yes. Or like in other places, it's like, no, but even at the car thing, okay, which package do you want? Okay, oil change, this, good, check, sign, pay. Because what you then get to do as a coach is you have the freedom to, I'm not going to swear, I promise. I'm not going to swear, Sandra. She'll never invite me back. You get to move heaven and earth to help them get there. You are more invested because the pressure's off of saying, oh, I have to, are they going to pay me this time? Are they going to, it's the pressure's off. They've trusted you by saying, here's my investment in myself. And you're saying, cool, now I'm going to put all of myself in it and help you get there. So you're freer to then provide above and beyond if you feel. All about customer service. You know who we were. Again, that commitment is, if you agree to my value, and if you don't, that's cool. Like, that's absolutely cool. I'm not going to take it personally. If you agree to my value and what I can do for you and what I can help you do, it's merely what I can help you do, then honor it. And then hold yourself up to that, hold yourself up to that standard. Whew. You guys are awesome. I love it. Controversial. Cream, thank you for that question. Love it. Now, did I miss any questions? Okay, I don't think I did. Hopefully I didn't. I've heard a guarantee or promise in adult learning. Yes, not in coaching. I think I've been confused having a universal promise to clients rather than one-to-one agreement. I've heard coaching, the outcome and guarantees as well. And I also want to note, I say that's just because we were talking about code of ethics like an hour. I was talking about code of ethics an hour ago. There is a space as well when you start saying, okay, so I'm going to have, whether it's here's my fee and here's like a bonus if I help you meet your goals. One goes really close or can either cross the line of code of ethics with the ICF. And two can be perceived, whether it's an actual conflict, it can be perceived as a conflict. It may start impeding your ability to stay neutral and like, because now I get a bonus? It may change the way I show up. And no. So, that makes me nervous. What makes you nervous? Shui, you have to, I'm like, what makes you nervous? Let's talk about, oh my God, I'm a coach. I'm sorry. Someone says that, I'm like, let's explore. Yes, right, the bonus piece, yes. Where someone will be like, hey, if I'm helping you meet your goals, very sales, again, in the sales industry, those things work. In some organizations, again, people motivated by, hey, you do this, get a bonus, cool. Coaching's different because it then starts impacting how you show up, and we can't. It's stay in the lane because we do harm if we veer out of the coaching lane. We actually start doing harm, and that's not why we came into this. Right, I'm off my soapbox. I love that question. It was awesome. I am going to, again, keep putting your questions in the chat. I'll go to them, I'm just aware of time. I want to go to the last slide. And then again, as you see, the discussion piece is the best part, is the magic part, because you get to either validate your ideas, share ideas, get creative. This is the fun part. So throw them in. I love it. The last place is, okay, so you've written an inventory of all the cool things that you do, your secret sauce. You've had other people say, hey, this is the impact, this is the value, this is what they do. You've said, okay, taken all this information, and now I've valued my services. The last piece is continue to add that value. Continuously add value. That's what we do. It also is that space of your value as a coach and of your coaching services evolves as you do. So if you were to look at, again, what you would value, whether monetary or otherwise, or how you would articulate your value 10 years ago in whatever profession you were in, and now, and 10 years from now, it's going to change. As you grow, as you change niches, as you make that inventory a bit longer. So this is about, I want to invite you to just be mindful of how you, using Stephen Covey's words, sharpen your saw and keep it sharp. Grow your value. So part of that is developing your own competencies, developing your own passions and what you're good at and where the areas that you're intrigued by, taking, professional development from the Coaching Out of the Box. Like your one credit. I'm so excited. Others is like, be aware in your whatever area that you're coaching in. Again, leadership, health, life, confidence, whatever that area is for you. Look around for articles and journals and interesting stuff that you can share with your clients. Just share it. Even before they ask, just say, hey, was thinking about you, or hey, know that you were having, some issues with this. Why don't I just share something with you? I always have the caveat with my clients. If it's of value, take it. If not, discard it. You don't have to take everything I give you. But it's about making sure that someone, again, not only feels valued in the conversation, but afterwards, that you're with them on the journey of like, hey, you might find this interesting. Hey, did you hear this? Hey, did you know this? Also, if you've created a tool, I have a coaching client who I meet once a month. She said, you know what, that's kind of it. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. She said, but Rosa, I like a lot of space between our conversations and directed space. So I love homework. And I'm like, okay, this is fun. So what I do is I put together some tools that, based on our conversation, some tools that I think might help. Again, whether it's, reflection, or here's a tool that I found, or whatever that is, and I compile it and send it to her as part of our working together. Some of those tools are things that I've created earlier for someone else, where I'm like, oh, I've created this. I'm going to put this in my toolbox and then take it up again. So it's also about leveraging stuff you've already done that may be of service to your clients that you're currently working with. Create oh my gosh, I found this new tool or these questions that help me plan on Fridays. I use Friday as my planning day on a personal level. I share it with my clients and say, hey, again, if it's valuable, take it. It's like one of those, take what you need. Here it is. If this is valuable to you, cool. If it's not, let it go. Again, this is about making sure that not just in those conversations, that you're always adding value. You're adding value to your own practice, you're adding value to your clients. So for me, linking this back to the email that I got months ago, where again, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I first got that email, I was like, I'm not sure if polite was the first thing that was going to come out of my mind. It was, I promise. It was like a few seconds after. It was a very polite decline. I am grateful for that email. I'm grateful for what it brought up because it allowed me to start looking at how do I define my value? And again, put my thoughts in something and saying, hey, maybe this can help you become more comfortable with owning it, articulating it, sharing it, and owning the value that each of you brings in creating that space for someone to be seen, heard, valued, understood, and help them move from where they are to where they want to go. Sorry. I have this little note in my notes about discounts, and Vignesh, you talked about discounts. I'm very excited. So I'll talk about that. Offering discounts, getting a loyalty program could help us gain and retain our loyal clients. Yes. Will the strategy work with coaching? I'm not sure about a loyalty program. I know for repeat clients, if they, if they get a come again kind of thing, they may get a normal rate and not, an increased rate or a discounted rate, slightly discounted. Point about discounts. So if you're looking at, so I had someone recently come to me and say, Rosa, my friend wants to have a coaching conversation and wants to hire me. I think I want to give them a discount rate. I'm thinking 50 to 60%. What do you think? And I was taken aback. My invitation to you is, if you're looking at, okay, so let's decrease my rate to help someone who, again, friends, family, I just invite you to look at why. Why are you, like, what is behind that discount? Are you, is it about your discomfort with the value that or the price that you're charging? Or the value that you create? What assumptions are you making about the other person and their ability and willingness to invest in themselves? And, not even an and, my hope is, while you look at a discount to say, hey, you'll come back because it's easier to get business from somebody than to find a new client, and I understand that. My counter to that is, instead of a discount, just produce. Just be so good they can't ignore you. They want to come back. They have to come back because you've given them so much value. Or in some cases, people don't need coaches all the time. They might be like, can I see you in 6 months? Cool. But don't, when you're looking at that discount place, just really spend some time reflecting and thinking about, is this about them and my assumptions I'm making on them if they can't afford me? Or is this about me? Oh my God, I'm charging what? Because you're not standing in the value that you create, because you haven't spent the time to articulate it. So I don't know about referrals and loyalty programs in coaching. I've really never heard of them. But that's my thought about discounts. About different rates for those in the corporate world, absolutely. Could be different rates. Depending on who you're serving, again, that comes with a market research piece and your comfort level piece. of, hey, are there, different rates that I charge like organizations versus, people, given maybe not because of the impact or the outcome they get, the amount of time it takes me to schedule and go through RFP and, contract and invoice and administrative, add that in, this is your time. So there may be layers of rates, but I invite you to look at it and say, here is the same value. What makes it different? Is it, again, assumptions I'm making about the person's ability to pay? Is it that it just takes me longer with a group of clients because they need like me to jump through some more hoops? Value your time, even your administrative time, because it enables you to be in those conversations. And Patricia, again, private clients and corporate clients, deeper pockets, smart. Yes. So, do you post costs on a website? No. Very simply, I don't. And there's a reason for that. And I invite you to have that same reason. I want to look at the time, Sandra, is given the value that you provide to those that you work with, you are allowed to be choosy about who you work with. So having those conversations and understanding what the person is coming to you with, having that first conversation. I love jumping on a call and someone saying, hey, what do you charge? Or hey, what are your packages? I explain my packages on the website. I don't give a cost. One, because I can then change them if I feel like it, or inflation goes up, or the market research tells me to. But I invite them to have a conversation with me because I want to hear in their words what they're looking for. And if I can help, because there's that other place of, hey, me knowing my value knows that there are some clients that just aren't going to get the same value from me. So it's okay to say no. So that's why I invite people to a call, a discovery call, to say, what are you looking for? Why were you, like, what was it about me? And then to start to assess, can I help this person? Do I want to help this person? And that's when we start talking about their investment, because they might just be like, I want a coach. And then they hear about the work that they have to put into it and be like, I don't want to coach. So in some conversations, we don't even get to price because we come to a place where I'm not the right fit for you. So it doesn't even matter what I charge. So I always invite the conversation. And while not updated, I do post, here are the packages that I offer. Call me. Let's have a 30-minute discovery call. Let's have a free coaching conversation. Okay. Yes, sliding scale. Okay, Sandra, did I miss anything in terms of questions?
Not in terms of questions. I wanted to share Carolyn's comment just for those that are going to be listening to the recording because it's a great idea. Is what she said is what I've included in my business practice is a sliding scale and have a preferred client fee for repeat clients as well as for students. So that's kind of a great way to do it as well when you're trying to find your footing with a new client. Maybe they don't get the preferred client fee. So it's similar to a discount in that way, but it's definitely not worded like that.
I think that's where the power comes in. Is you notice that Carolyn didn't say, I'm going to discount my value and my services. Here's a discount. Here's the preferred rate. So if you're in the elite group, you get this rate. It gives people that there's rewards in different ways, but it doesn't devalue your skills or their ability to invest. Sandra, I have taken up, and we knew it. We knew that this would be the fun part. I still want to create the space for not only your slides, but also that kind of wrap up at the end.
For sure. I mean, I can rip through my stuff really quickly. The vast majority of our participants today are Coaching Out of the Box community members, which I love. So I'll just go through it really quickly and then we can jump back and hopefully get through some last minute questions here. So for those of you that are joining us for the webinar today to learn a little bit more about Coaching Out of the Box, here's a slide about why us. We are a cost-effective option for coach education, which in no way reflects the value of the education that you're getting. We provide live distance education. Everything's done over Zoom. We make it nice and easy for you. We are an ICF approved coach specific training provider, an ICF accredited training provider providing approved coach specific training hours. And those of you that know the ICF knows there's acronyms for everything, and even me, I still get confused over them. We have proven programs with proven results. We're happy to share that information with you if you're interested. And of course, you get the best. You get the ongoing support, not only from me as program advisor, but from our wonderful Coach Facilitator team, right up to Allison Hendren, our CEO and founder. She's always happy to chat with any students or graduates or anybody that we have reaching out to us as well. Mm-hmm. So where do you see yourself? Wherever you are in your coaching journey, we do have solutions for you. If you're just getting started, you can take the 555, which is a great program. If you want to jump in for your ACC credential at the ICF, we can help you out with that. And if you're wanting to tackle a new challenge, become a trained or a licensed trainer to deliver our 555 coaching skills training program, we do have a coaching education piece for you for that as well. What's coming up? As you can see, our Train the Trainer program on October 1st, as well as Coaching Fundamentals. The next Fast Track, which is our evening session, start on November 2nd. And be sure to reach out if you have any questions. We're always happy to connect with you. And I'll pass it back over to Rosa.
There's two things in the chat that I wanted to mention again as you're listening, because I think they're both fantastic comments. Janice, hell yes. Janice shares, I like the advice from both Allison and a lawyer I engaged, pro bono. In proposal invoices, always show the actual rate. While stating, again, if you're billing at a special or promo rate, then you state that. But always in an invoice, say, here's the value. Make the value explicit. Yes. I would say hell yes, but again, swearing. And there is a question, and now I can't find it because I'm looking for it, of examples of packages. That's where the market research comes in. Honestly, if you have coach friends, or if you're like, coach in my area, whatever that is, go to the ICF, they have a list. Look at some of the websites, especially in areas that you want to be in. Again, career, leadership, health, whatever niche you're in, check out other people's websites. Don't ask, don't get. Have a conversation with them if you want. But most people will put their packages on their website. And then you can start looking at it like, is this something I want to do? Is this a great example? But then match that to, what have I done in the past? Or what do I think I can do? Because you can change your packages. You seriously can. Like, you can put it out there and be like, yeah, that doesn't work very well. Then change it. That's that whole, evolving nature. So I would encourage you to do research. Just have some fun. Grab a coffee or whatever and sit in front of a computer and do some searches. There's a lot of information on websites. Use it. Use it to your advantage. Now, with the 2 minutes we have left.
I know, and there's lots of comments coming through. Great big thanks for all the value that you provided today, Rosa. It's been a good conversation. I know personally I've learned so much, and my mind is just continually spinning now of, how do I want to do things moving forward with my own coaching practice. So I appreciate it. Thank you. I know lots of attendees here are in the same boat. Again, thank you for joining us today. For everybody, thanks for all of the comments and the questions. We love it. We like to have this as collaborative as we can in a webinar setting, which is not the easiest thing to do. So for those of you that took the time to add your comments and questions into the chat, we really do appreciate it. And one last big, huge thank you to you, Rosa. Thank you.
Thank you. I will give the shout out because I know this is going to be in posterity and I know it's going to be on the website. One, a lot of the information you're asking, and go to the Coaching Out of the Box website. There's like resources and stuff that you can take and be like, how can I use this? So I encourage you to go there. It is a masterful job to be taking someone's like thinking and putting it into a webinar with slides and hosting it and doing all the wonderful stuff with it. So I want to give a shout out to Sandra, because not only is she doing this, but she also keeps us all in check and being like, and answers all the ICF questions. So I'm giving a shout out to Sandra because it's all about the value that you create, not only in the webinars, the people who are listening and the recordings and. So And I know a lot of you, even that question of what you're walking away with, a lot of you are already throwing it in there. And again, this is part of your community. Reach out to the community. Again, anyone in Coaching Out of the Box community. The facilitators are part of your community. Reach out if you have questions. Reach out to Sandra if you have questions about program or ICF acronyms. And again, I also thank you. This was really fun.
On that note, we are going to bid you all a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where you are in the world, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.